So now we have a question here. We said solve the quadratic equation, that is solve the equation 2x squared plus 3x minus 2 equal to 0 without the use of the factorization method, the formula method, the completing the square method, and even the graphical method as stated. Now we have a new rule which which has been discovered, which can be used to solve quadratic equation. Yeah. Now, which the rule is known as the Fauchet law principle, or we call it the Fauchet law method. This is it here. Fauchet law method. So the Fauchet law method. Now, this is how the Fauchet law method actually works. It works this way. Now, let's look at the equation. Now, the equation says 2x squared plus 3x minus 2 equal to 0. Now, this is a quadratic equation. The first thing we need to do here is we divide through by the quotient of x squared, which is what? 2. Now, when I divide through by the quotient of x squared, which is 2, so we'll be left with what now? X squared plus what? 3x over 2, then minus 1 equal to 0. Because 2 divided by 2 over plus 3x over 2 minus 2 over 2, so we give us this in the equation, which is what? X squared plus 3x over 2 minus 1 equal to 0. Now, the next thing we need to do here is we open two brackets. These are the two brackets here, which is automatically equal to the constant. So what is our constant here? Minus 1. So which is equal to what? Minus 1. Now this will end up giving us what we call the difference of two squares. Difference of two squares. Now in what case? Now this is how it goes. Now the first thing is we take the coefficient of x, we divide it by 2. Now after getting to this stage, to this step, we divide the coefficient of x, which is 3 over 2, by what? By 2. That's we have it. We divide it by 2. Now, mind you, now the sign is a very, very important thing we need to put into consideration, because whenever the sign is positive, whenever the quotient of x is positive, when we are bringing it down into this bracket, it becomes what? Negative. Am I making sense? So it becomes negative. And if the sign were to be a negative symbol, when it's coming down here, it becomes what? It becomes positive. Now the sign here is actually positive. Now this becomes what now? Minus, because it was formerly positive, so it becomes minus. So if this is minus, so now we said the quotient of x is always divided by 2. Now if you should divide the quotient of x here, which is 3 over 2 by 2, it will give us what? 3 over 4. Now we have what? Minus 3 over 4 here. We also have what? Minus 3 over 4 here. Now to have our variable, which is, now our variable here was actually x, so it's better for us to just make our variable here be what? Instead of us applying x here again, let's just put in y here. So minus y, then this one will give us what? Plus y. So this is actually what? This is actually what we mean by what? The difference of two square. Now I don't want to just move straight to it, so let's just open the bracket. So this will give us what? So minus 3 over 4 times minus 3 over 4. This will end up giving us what? That's 9 over what? Over 16, which is what? Minus is plus 3 times 3, 9. Then 4 times 4 is what? Is 16. Then this will give us what again? Minus what? 3 over 4 times y is what? Minus 3 over 4y. And also we open the next one also. Minus y times minus 3 over 4 will give us what? Plus 3 over 4y. And minus y times plus y will give us what? Minus y squared, which is equal to what? Minus 1. So this is automatically what? Difference of two square, because minus 3 over 4 can cancel plus 3 over 4. So we are left with what now? 9 over 16 minus y squared equals to minus 1. So is this clear? Now, can you see this is now what? Difference of two squares. So now what do we need to do now? We make y squared the square root formula, so we make it positive. So this will give us what now? 9 over 16 plus 1 equal to y squared. So now we can look for the sum of these two, so which is 16 So which will give us what? 9 plus 1 is 16 is 16. So 16 times 1 is 16. So this is equals to what? Y square. So which will give us 9 plus 16 is 25. That's 25 over 16 equals to y square. So which means that to get the value of y here now, we need to square root both sides. So which will automatically give us what? The square root of 25 over 16 equals to y. So which will give us what? So therefore the value of y is equals to what? Now square root of 25 is what? Is 5. Then square root of 16 is 4. So it simply means the value of y is what? Is 5 over 4. So this is not our final answer. Now you remember we said something. We said from this point here, this was where we started the solution. Now we just need to what? You just say recall. We need to recall that since we have two brackets which says what? Minus 3 over 4 minus y, and also we have what again? Minus 3 over 4 plus y. Now this is where we are going to what? We are going to now substitute in the value of y into this, and also substitute value of what? Of y into this. So now we have it as what now? Minus 3 over 4 minus what? 5 over 4. And what? Minus 3 over 4 plus what? 5 over 4. So this will give us what now? That's 4. Then this will give what? Minus 3 minus 5. Sorry, minus 3 minus 5. And what again? Minus 3 plus 5 over 4. So which we end up giving what? Minus 8 over 4. And what? That's 2 over 4. Which means our final answer here is what? This will give minus 2 and 1 over 2. So which means the what? Which means the roots of the quadratic equation are what? Are minus 2 and 1 over 2. So this is our final answer. Thank you.